There's a way to seize the day. There's a place for the precious people.
Hi everyone. Today I've got a friend and colleague of mine sharing the space. This is Alyse Price-Tobler.
Hi, Tam.
Hi, how you going?
Yeah, good.
Good. Now I would like to first of all get you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, cool. My name is Alyse Price-Tobler and I'm a psychotherapist with a master's degree in counselling and psychotherapy, and I have about 32 years experience working in mental health and disabilities out in the general community and population. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, your work in disabilities and mental health. There's a lot of talk at the moment about conversations revolving around those two, aspects of our community. Can you give a little bit of insight as to why we need to talk about disabilities and mental health, in your opinion?
I think that it's time now that community really needs to step up and understand that approximately 1 in 4 is actually the statistic of somebody developing or having a serious mental illness in their life.
Wow.
So personally for me, I have my own practice where I see private clients, and I think it's more. I think it's probably 1 in 3, maybe even 1 in 2 on a bad day. So I think it needs to be really normalised. I think it needs to be spoken about. I think our children need to be taught how to speak about what's happening for them, both mentally and physically, because they're taught from a very early age that if they go to the doctor, they can identify symptoms of physical body, but they're not taught about their mental health. And we need to combine them, and it needs to be a very, very normal conversation brought into the household every single day.
Wow, that's really interesting, because it's not so long ago that people didn't talk about disabilities or mental health, and yet we're looking at those kind of statistics. We're looking at pretty much everyone has some kind of either mental health impact on their lives, whether it's themselves directly or someone in their family or friends and things like that. And same with disabilities. We're looking at almost everyone in the community being affected by that in some way.
Yeah. And
That's
get the
pretty
stigmas
huge.
out of just ridiculous, the stigma towards mental health.
Why do you think that is?
I think that a lot of people aren't putting themselves in the position of an empathetic sort of conversation. They don't understand the other person's perspective, and I think as a society we're very much about gossip, and we actually have stopped how to drop down to a deeper level, more empathic conversation with somebody. We just have, a lot of us have lost the skills. So if somebody says to us, "Are you okay?" That's wonderful, great conversation. Spread the word. Are you okay? Ask someone if you're okay. That's wonderful. But what happens if they actually say no? So a lot of us don't have the skills to sit in that position and actually hold those conversations and hear another person.
Okay. So you've used the word empathic and the word empathy. For those people who are not familiar with that word, what exactly is empathy?
Empathy is sitting with somebody else and actually understanding and hearing their perspective without judging it.
Okay, so it's kind of like, in some ways, putting yourself in their shoes, kind of thing, and,
without the judgment.
And feeling like you could understand that they feel a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And based on the experiences and things they're having.
Yeah, and try to put your perspective aside and understand their perspective.
So empathy is really important, isn't it?
Critical. It's critical.
It's basically one of the fundamental things that we need when you're talking about needs. And we know that psychology has long accepted the idea that we have needs that we need to meet. I mean, we have physical needs, obviously. We have, things that we need to have. We need to have food and water and shelter and all that kind of thing. But we have other needs as well.
Yes.
And so with empathy, we can start making those kind of connections and things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you, obviously, I know that you've been working on a really exciting project, and I wanted to ask you, what is this project that you've been working on, and how does it tie into the other things that we've just been talking about?
Okay, well, basically, for the last 4 years, I've been studying my master's degree in counselling and psychotherapy. And during that time, I was also writing a model, because working out in the community, I see there's a huge gap between asking somebody, are you okay? And then people being able to answer that and look for insight within themselves and being able to speak the words and the language that's around that. Because what I've noticed, and a lot of people say the same thing, if I say to them, are you okay? Standard answer is, yeah, I'm fine. So
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah,
even if we're not.
Yeah, totally. So it's just everywhere you go. Even at the GP office the other day, when she came out to get me in the waiting room, she said to me, "Are you okay? How are you going?" And I'm like, "Well, obviously I'm not okay. I'm not going very well. And how about we talk about that in your rooms?" And she was very taken aback. But I just thought, how strange. I can't say, "Yeah, I'm great, thanks." It's just it needs to be looked at, it needs to be questioned, and we need to have an alternative question apart from, are you okay?
Okay.
And that's what I've basically come up with.
So when you talk about a model, what do you mean by a model?
Okay, so I've written a new social communication model.
Okay.
So instead of asking the question, are you okay? I'm proposing a different question. So I'm proposing, how's your SEMPI, which is an acronym, and it's an invitation to come to a deeper level of conversation with me, where I will sit with you and I'll go through the acronym with you, and I'll tap into all the different areas that SEMPI covers holistically, and we'll have a deeper conversation together.
Now, interestingly enough, I know SEMPI, and one of the things that I find really exciting about this new model is that it's not just about you taking me through the questions so that you can be empathic and gather information and sort of feel like you have some understanding of what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But it's something a little bit different than that. Can you explain that?
Well, it gives me a much deeper perspective of how you are exactly at this moment, this snapshot in the day.
Yeah.
So what we found is it's actually being trialled in one of the special needs schools in Western Sydney at the moment.
Fantastic.
So what they're seeing is it gives them a snapshot into all of the kids in the classroom and how they are exactly in that moment. And that can change hour by hour, but it gives them a snapshot into them immediately.
The other thing that excites me about this is a reciprocal model, isn't it? So
Yes.
it means that if we were going to have a SEMPI conversation, it means then once I've gone through things and told you and shared with you, we can then do the reverse, and I can be asking you those questions, and you have an opportunity. So it really is a conversation. It is really a dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also stops the person asking all the questions from being in the power position all the time.
Yeah.
So as a therapist, I sit there and I ask all the questions, but the person never gets to ask me back.
Yeah, and that's something that we, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
That's
something
all right.
we do find, when we are working with someone, that there is automatically a difference in power, because you are the person, the professional that person is coming to if you are working with someone. But this is a very even kind of thing where it's a real sharing model, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's something where we're asking the question, but we're actually sitting with the answers and allowing that person to communicate when it's their turn, and then vice versa when it's our turn.
So there's basically a sharer and a listener.
Okay.
So it's not a counselling model at all. So even though I'm a therapist and a counsellor, it's not a counselling model at all. So anybody in the community can do it. And it's free. So it's a pay it forward altruistic model as well.
Yeah, right. So basically it means that everyone can share this information.
Yes.
You can do it. You can use it with your friends and family, your groups, at work.
Yes, your children at night when you're putting them to bed.
Oh, great.
You can ask, how's your SEMPI at night? And the children can go through. And what we're finding at that period of time is once I go through the model, I'll explain it to
Well,
you.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's very interesting. So it's working across the entire community from ages 3 right through to the most elderly, our elders within community, and across all platforms. So it's going across schools, it can go into nursing homes, it can go into corporate, it can go into general community, it can go into people in mental health units, it can go into people just in general hospital. It works with all of the first responders, one of which I used to be with the SES as a primary road rescue officer. So I've also written it for them as well. So because often when we used to come back from incidents, we'd have nobody to kind of talk to or check in. So this, you can also go through with that instead of me being asked, are you okay? Well, that's a pretty odd question if I've just attended a car accident and somebody's died.
So we're looking at a model that can be used in the community, but can also be used in situations where people actually need real debriefing.
Absolutely.
Where they can feel like they can offload, share their experience. And we all know that, you know, sometimes a problem shared is a problem halved, you know.
Yes.
And so that's fantastic. Look, we've got a board here. Can we bring in the SEMPI model?
Absolutely.
Let's just watch the microphone as we bring that in. We can put it in front of me because then you can explain things.
Okay.
So wait for the camera to adjust. If it's going to. Oh. All right. So this is the SEMPI communication model.
Yeah.
So can you go through it and explain each different thing? Would you like me to ask you how your SEMPI is?
Oh, we can do that in a minute when I've gone through it. That'd be really good. I'd love you to ask me that actually, and then I can ask you.
All right, let's do it.
And then once we've learnt the model, we can then teach somebody else the model and ask them how's their SEMPI. And this is a chain. It's a chain that goes down.
Okay.
So here we have SEMPI stands for sleep and safety. So that's a basic need
that's your
to
S there?
rest, yes, and the need to feel safe.
Okay.
So when we talk about sleep and safety, we're going in, and a lot of the time what I've noticed is people, when they're lying in bed at night and trying to get to sleep, it's one of the first times that they don't distract for the entire day. So what will happen is any thoughts that are really upsetting them that have happened during the day, or something that they just is unresolved, will come up at that point. So that's why we ask sleep and safety first.
So that is, hang on. I got to find where it is.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yay, blue.
Okay, blue. So this is your S, so sleep and safety.
Correct.
And then we move down to E.
Oh, before we move on, we've got the need to feel safe.
The need to feel safe.
Yes. So this is very interesting. So sleep and the need to feel safe. So a lot of this comes from just checking in about how safe it is for you to go to sleep in your house, because we're looking at all different things here. So if you choose S to talk about in the SEMPI model, if I say to you, how's your SEMPI? And you say, sleep and safety. All right, so I've just got a letter of eviction, so I don't know how long I'll be actually staying in my apartment for. Or my sleep was just so terrible, I was worried, really worried. The last thing my boss said to me was, I need to speak to you in the morning. I have no idea what that's about. So that could be another thing that's going on. Sleep affected could be anybody experiencing anxiety, PTSD, all the different things that go along with that. With children, sleep can be they're just too worried about not having done their homework, or something's going on in the schoolyard during the day and they don't want to face it, or they're terrified they haven't done an assignment, or something else could be going on for them.
Their imagination too. Sleep.
Yes.
Sleep can be a time where children can sometimes imagine monsters or dark aspects of the psyche as well too. So it can be a very vulnerable time for children.
And worst case scenario is somebody might be coming into their room and making them not safe during the night, or their family could already be experiencing homelessness and they could be sleeping in a car. So it covers the entire general community. And also, when we look at sleep safety, we can apply it to hospitals. So sometimes I suppose I can use myself as an example. When I had an operation, my sleep in the hospital was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, my pain levels were very high. I wasn't getting any sleep. I was getting torches in my face every hour. So that gave me something to talk about as well. But unfortunately, in that hospital, which is where the model was developed from, I had nobody around to ask me how was my SEMPI. So I had no one to talk to about this. This is why I wrote it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's S.
Yeah.
Let's move down.
Yep.
Let's move down to E.
Yep. So E is the need for love, empathy, and to matter. This is very, very important need.
So this is emotions we're talking about, yeah?
That's right. Yeah. So when we are talking about emotions, lots of things can trigger us, and if we're not experiencing empathy for another person or the need to matter, sometimes that can really play around with our emotions.
Sure.
So, and also emotions can be finding ourselves crying too much, which could be an indicator, but you're not sure why. So this is an opportunity now to actually sit with the listener and talk about what's actually happening for you when you find yourself being very emotional, and explore perhaps what's the cause. What is this about? Why are you having these emotions? And you could also be very frustrated, or some of the men that I work with could have a few issues with anger. So this is sometimes something that they like to talk about. So
Yeah, right,
we
okay.
talk about emotional highs and lows, and maybe the struggling to speak about emotions, or struggling to contain emotions. So emotions is a really big topic. So basically, when I say to you, how's your SEMPI, if you choose emotions, there's a whole lot of things that you can actually speak about just within this one letter.
All right, yeah, it sounds like there is a lot.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. And we're now down to M.
Yep, so meet your basic survival needs. So here we look at food, water, clothing, and housing. So with the food and water, a lot of the time if I say to somebody, how's your SEMPI, and we get to M, we look at meet your needs, we go through, if you had enough to eat today. You'd be amazed how many people will say, all I've had today is coffee, or chocolate, or I've had nothing to eat, or I've just basically I'm too stressed to even eat at all.
Yeah, right.
Water's huge. One of the schools, again, when this question was asked to some of the girls, indicated that they'd had no water to drink that day and very little food. And their housing, one of the girls was sleeping in the driveway in the car. So this was all flagged within the classroom. So that was huge.
Wow.
And then the teachers were able to act on all the different information that had been spoken about and given to them during the course of this in the classroom.
All right, so M, meet your needs. All right, let's move on. We're getting close to the end now, so we've got P. What's that stand for?
Physical needs. Now, this is a little bit tricky for me to read because
Clearly I don't do this all the time. Yep.
the need to feel physically well in our bodies. So what this is basically a question that asks you to kind of check in with your body. Are you feeling any pain? In what areas is it? Is it due to something? So this is really interesting. If we ask children who are being bullied or they've been hurt at school, this is often something that they will bring up and say, well, yeah, I got pushed around in the schoolyard and I got pushed over and my head's been hurt.
Okay.
Or physical needs, as in if you're in a nursing home and there's a lot of arthritis in a person's body, or just physical, basically anything to do with physical body at all, this is the time to actually speak about it.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. And last but not least, we have the I of SEMPI.
Yeah.
What's that?
So I stands for inclusion, and it basically means inclusion in community. So this one is the need to be included in community, and this is really, really important because anybody who's experiencing isolation, and there's a lot of members in the community who are isolated and lonely, and loneliness is a major problem across the world. It's epidemic proportions. We have so many people who are not leaving the house, who are just not engaging with anybody. It's linked to depression, anxiety, all sorts of stuff, agoraphobia, you name it. Some people don't see another human being for weeks on end, especially in our elderly community, or people with mental health issues. Sometimes, this is huge for them as well.
Sure.
So even in general population, if we look at the corporate world, for example, I sometimes comes up if I'm talking to corporates. So that can even be something as simple as I wasn't included. I had a great idea, but I wasn't included in the meeting about it.
Okay.
And then my boss has actually taken all the credit for it.
Yeah,
so,
right.
And I wasn't included. So now I'm feeling very isolated. Or another example could be my mental health hasn't been very good. I've been working way too much. I'm experiencing anxiety and depression. I'm isolating myself. I'm not feeling included. I can't keep up with the rest of the workers in my office.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm feeling very, very excluded.
Okay.
So it can be across the board. You can apply it to every single person in community.
So I see the SEMPI model as being not only a great communication model, but it's an opportunity and an invitation for people to talk about things that maybe they wouldn't normally talk about. So, for example, if you ask me if I was okay, I might go, oh, I'm so tired because I was up all night watching videos and I knew I had to get up and do an assessment today, but I didn't end up doing it and now I'm feeling bad. And that might be as far as a conversation goes. And you might go, oh, I'm so, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And then we might be talking about other things. But this model is an invitation whereby a person can go through themselves and check in with themselves holistically. So it's not
gain
just
some
about
insight.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's not just about sharing that and having the opportunity to share it, but it's also maybe they haven't thought about
No, that's right.
how they're feeling
No.
or what their needs are.
Correct.
All right, we're going to do a speed senpai session now. So
Speed
yes,
senpai.
speed senpai, because we don't want this video to be hugely long. We might go into some more detail later on. It will be great to get some other guests in with you to go through the senpai model and show it in action as well. I know that you've made some other videos too on that, which is great. So let's start. So who's going to start the ball rolling?
How about I ask you how your senpai is?
Okay. Okay, here we go.
So, Tan.
Yes.
Are you okay?
I am, I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I mean, the standard answers go, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I don't feel anything particularly bad or anything, but got some things going on. Yeah.
Okay, so are you having trouble sort of answering this question? Because
Actually, I am.
Yeah, okay.
I am, because
Are you struggling to kind of pinpoint what it is I'm interested in or what it is?
I also, I guess there's this kind of unspoken thing of I'm not sure what's appropriate to talk about. Now, you and I have been friends for a long time. We talk about anything. But generally when someone asks that question, we're either going to do one of two things. We're either going to just say the standard answer of, yeah, I'm good, how are you?
Yeah,
Because that's...
and stay positive.
Yeah, regardless of what's going on. Or we're going to, if we're close to the person, that's usually the only time that we might go, actually, I haven't been that great. But there can be a sense of burdening someone with that, especially if when we say, are you okay? I don't know whether you're saying, are you okay, as a courtesy, because we use it as a greeting, don't we?
Yes, we
say,
do.
hey, how you going?
Yeah.
Hi, how you going? We're not necessarily seeking an actual answer.
Or
And
what if
so-
I say to you, are you okay?
Well, yeah, then it sounds like, yeah, I'm fine. It does. Yeah, it's kind of, we're not sure of the context.
Yeah.
That we're
What
saying,
about,
okay.
are you okay?
Yeah, well, that's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, what do you think? I'm some crazy person.
Yeah, it can be a loaded question depending on the perception, the person, the interaction, how well you know each other. What if I was a total
Context.
stranger and I said to you, are you okay?
Yeah, it's like, and I might be going around going, well, I was okay, but geez, now he said that. What did they mean by that?
Because you don't look great. Yeah. I've had that. You don't look
Oh,
great.
it's
Don't look
hilarious.
great. I look tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look
Yeah,
really tired.
yeah. Well, that could be what it
maybe
is,
I'm
yeah.
tired.
All right, so let's put senpai in action.
Okay. So if you're struggling with that, or you actually say no to that question, then I would say to you, okay, well, how about we ask, how's your senpai? How about we go through senpai together, and
Okay.
I will give you some of my time. You can be the sharer. I'll be the listener. As again, it's not a counselling model, so I am not here to give you any answers whatsoever. I am just here to listen. And
All
at
right.
the end,
Sounds like a plan.
together we don't feel as if we've identified something that's much bigger than the two of us, then we have all of the referral services listed on the website and on the back
right.
of the booklet, so
Okay,
we can
yeah.
take it further.
All right, okay.
Okay, so
let's-
Tanya,
Yes.
how's your senpai?
Oh, okay. Well, I know the senpai model, so I
Yep,
can get
so
started. So,
let's look at sleep and safety.
okay, so sleep. I've actually been good with my sleep. I've been taking myself to bed when I'm feeling tired instead of trying to push past it and get more things done. Because I'm a doer.
Yep.
And it's very easy for me to go down the path of I'm feeling tired, I'll push through it, I'll get a second wind, and then I'm going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and getting up at 6, and it's not enough sleep for me.
Okay.
So I've actually been very mindful of that recently, and as a result, I'm feeling like I've got more energy, which actually means I'm having a much more productive day. So I'm getting more done
Okay.
in less time, which
Okay.
is really good. I'm actually feeling very happy about that.
Okay, so the good thing is here, senpai, how's your senpai? Doesn't necessarily need to be a negative question.
Yeah.
You can also talk about all the positive things in your life as well. So it's,
We don't have to find the negative in
No,
everything.
that's right. So it
All
can
right.
be positive too. So
We'll see how my
Yeah.
senpai's going as the
Yeah.
questions roll around. Okay.
And safety,
Safety, I'm feeling safe.
good.
I'm feeling safe, yeah. I'm feeling safe at home and safe in my work environment and things. And yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah.
And so how's your senpai? Let's look at E for emotions.
Oh, emotions, hormonal emotions. Oh
Okay.
my gosh, being everywhere at that kind of stage in life where emotions can be unpredictable.
Right.
So, trying to work on some strategies to deal with that. And, the first strategy is just accepting that this is happening. This is a time of my life where I'm going through changes and things like that, and trying to celebrate the fact that I'm going through that change and that this is temporary, hopefully. Fingers
Okay.
crossed. So so sometimes I'm feeling vulnerable, but I'm trying to stay positive for most of the time, and so that's where I'm at on the E front of
Okay.
senpai.
Okay, so how's your senpai with M for meet your basic survival needs?
Well, there's far too many fundraising chocolates around this household, and
yeah.
yes, and you were talking about coffee before and things.
Yeah.
I'm working on like replacing coffee with tea, which I do sometimes, not so good other times, but I think it's always for me trying to keep that balance of lifestyle. It's hard for me with all my family commitments and things sometimes to provide a really good nutritious meal at the end of the day when I'm working and I've got clients and things
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So some weeks not so great, some weeks better. Pre-planning always works for me. So I feel that I'm probably meeting my physical needs and things probably about 70% of the time.
Okay, so
is
that's
okay.
P. So you've jumped to P.
Oh, I
have
jumped
you?
to P, have I?
Yes, we were on
I'm
M.
meeting
That's
my
okay.
needs. Okay,
Yes,
so I've jumped to P.
Food, water,
Food,
housing,
House,
Yes.
yes. Okay, so housing
and
housing is good.
clothing.
Clothing.
basic survival needs.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think that covers it. So yeah,
Yeah.
those M.
So as
yeah.
the sharer,
Yeah.
You're the sharer.
Yeah.
As the listener,
Yeah.
because I know the model, then I'll
Yes.
just bring you back on track.
All right.
So then we learn it.
So
So-
so SE. So we're up to M. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and
meeting
now
my
up to
needs.
P for
Now
physical.
P. Physical.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
is usually a lot easier if we've got the booklets in front of us because then you can
that.
follow along. But I'm relying on your memory here.
Imagination, yes.
Yeah, and
My
imagination too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
So,
physically.
Physical needs.
Yes, how's your physical
My
body?
physical needs. I need to do more exercise, and I
Okay.
need to do more of the exercise that actually strengthens some of the weaknesses that I've developed over the years in my body. And a lot of that was to do with sitting. Do a lot of sitting. So been working at doing more exercise and things, and parking farther away when I've got to go somewhere.
yes, okay.
So I have my 20-minute walk,
Okay.
which only really works when I have time to incorporate that in. But I kind of figure it's a long-term gain anyway, like to have that sense of connecting physically. I'm a very cerebral and emotional person, so I live in my creative space and my mental space a lot of the time, and I do tend to steer away from my physical needs sometimes. Probably that is the most neglected part.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I need to work on that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm on the right track to doing that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So I just want to point out, just notice that I'm not asking any questions, only the SEMPI acronym questions. That's it. Okay.
Note
So,
to self, no
yes.
question, no more questions.
And I for inclusion in community.
I feel I have felt a little bit isolated recently. It tends to happen when I go from being involved. We're very involved in the hockey community, and when it's off season and you're not seeing those people all the time, you do tend to kind of, well, for me, I get a little bit isolated. My work keeps me in contact with people and things, but I do notice a big change. Hockey season's now started again, so and it's a shift. It's interesting because you enjoy it, you enjoy it, but it's a transition time from when you're going from, not seeing large groups of people to then seeing large groups of people regularly, and it takes me a few weeks before I start feeling, like I'm in the zone. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like that. If I've been away and in my own head, and I can see how it's very much the same kind of situation can happen to people if they are isolated for a given length of time. I know for me, if I spend I love my own company, but if I spend a lot of time alone and I'm not in a community group, I kind of get nervous going back into it. So I'm aware that I do that. Probably being at an age where you kind of know yourself a little bit is helpful too. But yeah, I'm aware that I don't feel nervous at the moment, but I'm aware that can happen sometimes, and I can understand and very much empathize with people that happens to.
Okay. So we've just basically run through Tania's SEMPI. So now
I feel like I've identified with myself, and I feel like I'm in an okay space.
Yes.
Because some of those things I hadn't actually asked of myself.
Okay.
Interestingly, I hadn't sort of thought about some of those things. In such a busy lifestyle, sometimes it's really hard to connect with ourselves, isn't it?
And it's quick. It's like a 5-minute conversation, or we can take it further and keep talking about that and go, anywhere that you want to take the conversation. It's completely, you are empowered. You're the driver. It's about you. And for me, being the listener, it's just about listening and being empathic and not judgmental. Very important.
Well, I'm going to bring over a little helper here. My little board here. I'm just going to pop it behind us if I could. Okay, because this is going to help me in asking you the questions as well.
Okay, sure.
Because I still need a little bit of guidance with this and things. So obviously, if you've got the booklet, then you're looking at the booklet. Okay, so I'm going to ask you about your SEMPI now. Should we go straight into it? All right. So, Alyse, how is it's S for sleep. How's that for you?
Okay, so my snapshot picture at this particular point in time is sleep for me in the last week has been interesting because I had my major graduation after waiting a year after getting my degree. I had to wait a year to graduate and go up there, so I've been running on a lot of nervous energy and preparing for that and making sure that everything was right and just getting everything into kind of a good routine, because I also have the businesses that I run as well, so, and all of my clients, so I had a lot to juggle, a lot to do, and then so my sleep was very minimal. And I also go to the gym every single day. And so I've been doing that as well. And just to get rid of some of my nervous energy so that I'll sleep a bit better. And then at the time, I don't even really remember walking across the stage. So
Okay.
my sleep's been very mucked up. So the last 3 days I've been doing heaps of self-care and just resting when my body needed it. No caffeine, total downtime just to rebalance with the sleep. Yeah. So that's sleep for me. I'm
That's
getting it
sleep.
back on track.
All
It's a
right.
big question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big question for a lot of people too, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a very important question.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's move through. Senpai, SE is the
Yeah.
next one, which is to do with emotions.
Emotions. Well, it's probably a good time to ask me because having had the graduation last week, that was a real high. So, but then at the same time, I've got a horse that's really, really injured, who's very lame and in the paddock, and we're having to go out to him every single day. So that emotionally is really tugging on me and was very difficult for me to leave him during the time that I had to go into Sydney for all the graduation stuff. So that's been really tricky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
That's okay.
Sometimes it's hard to share things that, we're not comfortable with,
yeah,
let
but
alone to the world.
it's nice to actually be able to kind of talk about the different emotions as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and family time was difficult for me the last week with emotions. So a lot of past stuff came up for me around family. So that caused me to be quite emotional at times, and it was a real roller coaster for me the last week. So I'm recovering with a lot of self-care and downtime at the moment.
Okay.
So E, pretty big for me at the moment, and that's a snapshot, and that'll change probably by tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So we've done sleep and
Yeah.
we've done emotions.
Yeah.
M is meet your survival needs.
Yeah. So I'm really good with what I eat and drink, and I'm quite a fitness fanatic. So I do know that anything that goes into my body helps me sustain energy. And because I work in mental health, I like to be really fit and on the ball. So that's not a big deal for me at the moment. I've got that pretty covered. Yeah.
Okay. So feeling happy about
Yeah.
meeting your needs. Physical needs.
Yep. So physically, I reckon I'm pretty fit actually. So I work out an hour a day, but in the last few days, my right knee has given out. So that's really interesting, and that's probably, if I think about it, it's my body saying, Alyse, you need to really slow down. So I've had the knee brace on, I've been icing it, having downtime with my knee, just talking to my body, asking it what does it need, and so really looking at how to get myself back up to physically peak condition again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your P.
Yeah.
Lucky last is the I of Senpai, which is inclusion and community.
Yeah. So inclusion in community is amazing. I don't really have much trouble with that unless I go into my studio for long periods of time and am making YouTube videos or just working more on sending out emails about Senpai or talking to schools and talking to corporates. That can be a little bit isolating. And generally I'll reach out and talk to Tan, but I've got other groups that I'm involved in. I'm involved in the local animal shelter and all sorts of things. I'm putting together a group at the moment for people with schizophrenia, a big social group. I've got another one out there as well. So I'm very in community because that's where I love to be. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've covered, that was really easy, actually. It was really easy to talk about that. And
Yeah.
it was great to kind of, when you think about what we've both done there,
Yeah.
we've covered so much information. We've shared,
Yeah.
we've shared so much
Yeah, we
in
have.
such a brief amount of time. And
Yeah.
I feel like I have more of an overview of where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
right
And
now.
I feel that about you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we did drop down to that deeper level conversation. And I feel as though I have a much bigger idea of where you are at the moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're using Senpai, we did a bit of a speed Senpai then because we're making a video, but there's no reason why things can't go deeper and deeper as someone feels the need to talk about things, when we have that opportunity to talk. Sometimes things come up for us that we weren't expecting,
Yeah.
or emotions come up, or like I said, I hadn't really thought about some of those things that I did speak about, and now that I have, I'm like feeling a little bit more connected with myself too. So it's not just about empathizing with other people.
No.
It's actually about getting an understanding for ourselves, and
Yeah.
then if we feel like we do have some needs that maybe we had a struggle with one of those things, we can go, well, maybe we can spend a bit of time self-nurturing. You're talking
Yeah.
about self-care, and I know
Yeah.
in the mental health industry, if you want to call it mental health industry, it's sort of always a weird thing for me, but we do talk about self-care.
Yeah, it's important.
But self-care is for everybody. We
Yeah.
need to look after ourselves. We need to learn to know what we need.
Yeah,
And I
especially our
think-
children. We need to teach our children how to do it.
Yeah. And so this is a really great way of where we don't have to have any counselling skills.
No,
You don't have to be a psychologist.
no, it's free.
Anyone can use it.
You can pay it forward.
It's just fantastic. I just
Yep.
think I want to thank you because I know you spent years developing this model and talking it through. We've spent
Yep.
lots and lots and lots of cups of tea.
Yeah.
Talking about this and you going through the process of putting it all together and stuff. And I just want to thank you from the community for your time and your passion that you have for helping people help themselves, because it's massive. And I think if we all were able to help ourselves and each other, which we can through this model,
Very empowering.
it's very empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's all for our video today. I want to thank Alyse Price-Tobler here for coming in and being so awesome and sharing her self and her model and everything else. And if you've got any questions or you'd like some more information, down below we're going to put the website and we'll put some contact details and things if you'd like to get in contact with Alyse and find out more. And remember, you can use this community model anywhere in the community, whether it's in your workplace as well, and we'll have some information about how you can get SEMPI into your workplace as well. So that's a really exciting thing coming your way soon.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you if you've got anything further that you'd like to say before we go.
Okay, well, there's basically 3 models. So there's the children's model, there's the free community model, and then there's the corporate model, which we do charge for because we go out and we talk about it, and it's a great big long presentation, and we teach empathy and reduction in bullying and in the workplace, which is really, really important as well. So and we're about to go into the school systems big time. And basically I want to thank Tania too, because on the corporate model, her album Drift is actually, she's kindly donated to me to put behind all of the slide presentation.
That'd
and
be
everything.
music.
Yeah. So yay. So
Yay! We can all do things together.
yeah, totally.
All right, well, thanks.
Spread it around. Spread it around.
Spread
Get it out.
for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alyse. Thanks
No
for coming
worries.
in. If you've got any further questions or anything, pop them in the comments section. If this video has comments below, which it may do. And also,
We could put a link in for Still because that's free.
Yep.
And
anyway, we're blathering on.
Yep.
So we'll have all the information. Thank you for listening. I hope
you.
you've found it very helpful, and let us know if you have in a comment below. Give us a thumbs up.
And
give
how's
us a
your
like.
senpai?
How's your senpai? Mm-hmm. Look after yourselves.
Yeah.
There's a way.